Hey friends, Tuesday, sitting on the back deck again, got the lights behind me, got a dog back here somewhere. Welcome to Lawson United Methodist Church Worship Express, and tonight we're going to talk about something that I think a lot of us have lots of feelings about. I think you're going to have to get down. My dog's trying to get in the shot here. Get down. Good girl. So, when's the last time that you actually forgave someone? That they really hurt you and you had to forgive them? Or the last time that you had to forgive yourself? So it's one of those words that comes up a lot. Well, you should really forgive them, or just forgive yourself, or I need to ask for forgiveness, or something like that. But, it's one of those things that it's really tricky. So I was listening to this pastor online. His name is Ted Max. And these are just some words that he shared that I've kind of taken a little bit and made it my own. But some of the things that he was talking about is that when someone hurts us, we tend to create this prison for them, and we, in our minds and our hearts, and we put them in this prison. And we think that they are going to be sitting in there thinking about what they did to us, thinking about how they hurt us, and we can kind of just relax in that frame of mind that they're really thinking about it. It's almost like when you put a child in timeout. You really want them to think about what they did. We shove them into this prison, we close the door, and we hold them in contempt. And every single time we say this to ourselves, every single time I think about you, I'm going to think about what you did to me. Now, if you can see where I'm going with this, it sounds more like a prison for us than a prison for them, right? We're the ones that keep hurting ourselves over and over again by doing this. And that's what happens, is we do it over and over and over again. We're reliving the pain that they've already caused us once. And because when that pain is so fresh and so raw, when someone else in the world triggers something that hurts us, we instantly take it back to that other person that hurt us, no matter what it was. It's just that feeling, that raw feeling of pain that someone has caused us, and then everything else that hurts us takes us back to that. It's just human nature. And then all of a sudden, I can't trust you because of what they did to me. You see it a lot of times in relationships. When I used to counsel couples and we would talk about things and we would bring up the past from past relationships, that was a lot of the problem most of the time, is that they were holding on to some past hurt that a former partner or someone in their lives had hurt them, and then they were blaming the person that they were with now. Well, I get triggered when you do that because of what they did to me. It's very common, and it's hard to kind of break that cycle. But what we can begin to realize is that, we're carrying around a weight and a pain that gets triggered by everyone. Everyone that hurts us, it triggers us. And we think that we're harming them by keeping them in this so-called cell or prison in our minds. But here's the real thing. Here's the news flash. Is they're not thinking that way at all. Someone who's hurt you, they're not thinking about it that way. They're not in that cell. They're on the beach somewhere reading a book on vacation with their family, enjoying their life. They're not thinking about you, but you're thinking about them. Typically, the person who causes the pain has somehow justified it in their minds, and they've moved on, and they don't think about it anymore. But here's the truth about forgiveness. Forgiveness is setting a prisoner free. I'm sure most of you have heard that at some point during your faith walk, your faith journey. You've heard it in church, Sunday school, youth group. But the prisoner is never them. The prisoner is you or me, the ones who have been hurt. We are the prisoners. Why? Because we're holding on to the pain, because we're holding on to the hurt and expecting them to feel bad about it or to feel something towards us. But here's what God says. God says that you are held. Forgiveness is a tool to set you free. so that you are no longer chained to what they did to you. You can live in the freedom of knowing that I am who you say I am, a child of God. Forgiveness is for you. It's for all of us. It's just really hard when someone has hurt us to look at it that way and to not immediately want to put them in this box and say, you did this to me, so I'm going to hold you in contempt over here until you think about what you did, reflect on what you did to me, and apologize. You may never get that apology. You may never, ever, ever get that apology. So why not go ahead and forgive them and say, I don't agree with what you did, but I'm going to forgive you. Because then you can move on. I learn a lot of things from the internet, and Google is one of those things that I go to a lot for my information, right or wrong. That's what I do. So I didn't have time to really check to see if this actual thing is true, but I did Google it, and it said that forgiveness is mentioned 127 times in the Bible. That sounds like a lot. It sounds like a message that we really need to have that on our hearts, to be forgiving. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32, it says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as God forgave you. And in Luke chapter 6, verse 37, it says, do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. I always take this back to what kids are dealing with today, and the things that they have to go through that I didn't have to at their age. And namely because I have 2 teenagers that are really working hard, really very busy, and trying to make things happen for themselves, right? So a few weeks ago, we had a college visit. And the man was up at the front talking to us about all of the criteria, all of the qualifications, all of these things that these kids need to have to be able to receive scholarships or certain opportunities that they provide. And I looked at Anna and I said, you meet every single one of those because of what you've done. You deserve to be here. And then I got kind of down on myself, and I thought, I did not even think about college that way. I don't even know that I deserved to go. I know that's not true, and I know that's not right to say that about myself, but looking at it from that perspective, I just looked at her and I said, you've earned this. You deserve it, and we're going to make this happen, whatever it takes. And she just kind of laughed, because she is who she is, and she's very smart. And I started thinking, I sometimes have to forgive myself for saying those things, those negative things to me. I started doing this thing a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month or so ago. I taped on the bathroom mirror in the girls' bathroom a picture of them when they were 3 or 4 years old. I think Lila was 2, maybe Anna was 3 or 4. And I taped it on the mirror, and I wrote a note next to it that said, be sweet to these girls. And they laughed, thought it was really funny. Oh, Mom, you're so funny. But there's some truth to that. Because if you wouldn't say it to that little girl or that little boy, then don't say it to yourself now. You have to picture that and think, man, I would never be so mean or so negative to this person that I see on the mirror. So why am I saying that to myself? There's a lot to be said about our inner child and what we need to tell our inner child that maybe they didn't hear when they were little, or maybe they just need to hear it from the older version of themselves. And that's the whole point of this, is sometimes forgiveness just needs to start with us. We need to forgive ourselves for something, or we need to be able to move on from something instead of being stuck and staying mad at ourselves or saying the negative self-talk to ourselves because of a decision or a choice that was made a long time ago. Forgive yourself. Forgive that person that hurt you. Maybe you were the one who hurt you, and you need to forgive and then move on. Easier said than done, I know. But if you do follow Scripture and you do find it important and relevant in your lives to combine those two things, Scripture and your life, and find purpose in that, then this message is for you. This is dedicated to everyone and anyone who has ever needed to forgive someone or forgive themselves. So think about that going forward. Let that be a challenge this week, to forgive yourself from something that you've been holding on to, or forgive someone who's really close to you that you've been holding on to something, thinking that it's punishing them for you to give them a silent treatment, or for you to stay mad at them, because they're not thinking about it that way. They don't even know. A lot of times people don't even know that they've hurt us because we didn't tell them. We just internalized it and then thought that they knew that we were mad and that they needed to apologize to us. It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle. And I know because I've been on it before. But trust me that it does get better and you can figure it out. And it does take work. It does take practice. But I know you can do it. So hope you have a great rest of your week. This weather is amazing. I say I'm ready for it to get chilly, but this is really pretty near perfect. So have a great week. I will see you next time.